Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. Today's guest is Rahaf Kobeissi, also known as Ray. She's a mental health advocate and executive coach and the founder of Raise Your Mental Health. Her mission is to break the stigma around men's mental health and help people better understand, manage and prioritise their well-being. We're excited to have the chat. Welcome to the show.
I'm excited. Oh, thank you. I get a clap.
Of course. You're up at 8:30. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
So,
Masa.
when you introduce yourself as Rahaf, you say that many people call you Ray.
Yes.
Why so? Why do you have that nickname?
It came from Raise Your Mental Health, the brand, but also because for too many, I'm like the rays of sunshine. So,
so cute.
because of the personality and probably the positivity that I bring, that's what I heard.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's really lovely.
Sunshine and happiness.
So let's talk about your own journey, I guess, with mental health. To become an advocate, how did that begin? How did that journey begin?
It started from a very personal journey. Back in 2010, I lost my dad to suicide. And that back then, you can only imagine the stigma around mental health, let alone men's mental health. So to me, it wasn't really something that I comprehended. Like, we were so close, why didn't he come forward or even just express that he's going through a tough time? So after doing some therapy and not some, I always say some, but like a long journey with therapy and healing, I decided, you know what, someone has to be the voice of men to talk about men's mental health. And I was one of the first in the Middle East to talk about it because it's really, really important. And I think until today, we have this misunderstanding that men don't feel. It's the exact opposite. They feel all the feelings. It's just they have been conditioned or trained or taught to feel quietly, hence the pain that comes from that.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much.
So what would you say are early signs of mental health issues or someone might be struggling?
It's really different, or it depends from one person to another. But the common symptoms, withdrawal. So they stop going to events or gatherings or anything that really used to interest them in the past. So they isolate themselves, they withdraw, they cancel last minute, I'm busy or I have things to do. That could be one of the symptoms. Their language gets more into the darker side, which means they're always pessimistic, they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, everything seems to be dramatic or heavy more than usual. Even the small tasks could feel like they're overwhelming or they're just too much to do. When you ask them about their well-being or their day, it's always the same answer, like, I'm fine, everything is fine, or what's the point? So it's just these basically behavioral, sometimes they're very subtle to notice, but it should be also worth mentioning is these symptoms should be taken seriously when it's longer than 2 months or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sorry. That's when, okay, there's a pattern, we need to pay attention to it. The thing is that people wait way too long, especially men. When there's a crisis, then they seek help. That's what I hope that should change for all of people, not just men.
I think we're all guilty of that, and I really look forward to diving further into this conversation because I feel like I know someone who's specifically going through this at the moment, and hopefully we can help a lot of people. But just to go back to your journey and, you know, to have that such a tragedy to happen in your life, at what point did you take the step to then be able, because you had to overcome this yourself,
yes,
and now you're giving back to people and helping them. So how did you get from here to here?
Beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. After my third suicide attempt. So I went blind for 4 days and I was like, there's something in the universe or in the energies that is really not letting me go. So I took it as a sign to start my therapy and my healing. And I was like, okay, there has to be something bigger than all of this. And I didn't know what was it. It was extremely painful and uncomfortable, as you can imagine. But then now I realize why. That's the short answer.
Wow. So I don't know what you've been through. But thank you for being here to share your story.
Thank
first of
you.
all.
Thank you. Now things are different. I just want people to know
so-
that things now are really different. I have the blessing and the
Thank
honor
God.
to work with people. I raise a lot of awareness, all of it around not just awareness, but also how to take action to bridge the gap between both, because I don't think we need more awareness, we need more action. So yes, I'm in a very good place. My clients are in a very good place. We're good.
Thank
But
God.
that's why it's really important. And I know the impact of neglecting your mental health or not being able to catch someone's signs, how literally dreadful that can be. So it's good to have at least the right knowledge and tools to work with.
So that's the thing. So speaking of action and tools, like what actionable things, if someone today is watching and they are
Yes.
struggling with their own mental health, is there one small thing that they can do now that could help them?
It doesn't have to be major. It doesn't have to be like extreme, like immediately going to therapy, immediately going to this, because I know that this is very uncomfortable, at least in this region. It's still not unheard of. It's just unfamiliar to go to a stranger and tell them, hey, I'm in a mess. I think it could be as simple as just having a conversation, a real conversation with a safe person. That's it. Let's start from there. Have a coffee with someone and just be real and drop the masks. And I would model that behavior first so the person could feel safe enough to come to me by, how's your day? Well, it wasn't easy. Why? Because I have been going through this and this and that. Or if I have to cancel a meeting or take a day off from work, I'll be very honest. I'm taking a mental health day because I'm really feeling anxious today. So just being real. We have been conditioned for so long to just wear the mask, that everything is fine. Hence, we have this toxic positivity in our culture now. We need to change that. So yeah, the first step would be just being real, having a conversation with someone safe. And if you feel like the symptoms are a bit too stubborn or they last a lot, too consistent, that's when you say something like, you know what, I know someone might be the right person for you. Just have a conversation with them. No agenda, no pressure. Yeah, it's very simple. We overcomplicate things, really.
Yeah. And do you feel maybe culture or family pressure is like forces someone to be hesitant to speak up?
100%.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Are we progressing to better, or are we still struggling with the cultural pressure? In the cases
Big question. Big question. I love it. It really depends on the family, because you can see a family who came from a very conservative background or culture, that at least one family member is breaking the pattern. And also you see another family where they're not doing anything. They're just repeating generational patterns. So yes, there's progress, but oh my God, we have so much to do still. And I would highlight it in a way where, okay, if you feel like you don't want to do any therapy or healing, I hear you, but think of your kids. Think of their kids. Is that really something you want to pass on to the next generation? Is that what you're teaching your kids? Like, it's okay to suppress feelings. It's okay to feel your pain on your own. It's okay to suffer when no one is noticing or when no one's around. What kind of messages are we really passing on? When you ask that question, people would be like, oh, but that's not what I meant. Because at the end of the day, when someone is suffering or choosing to suffer in silence, most of the time it's coming because I don't want to burden someone with my problems. I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to be perceived as unprofessional, especially if that person is an executive or runs a business. Let's drop all of that. We're all human beings and go back to the basics.
Interesting one.
Why?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We have so many questions.
Well, you mentioned about first steps and people being unwilling to kind of let the mask fall. So why do you think, and we're talking about men specifically, why do you think it's so hard for men to take that first step?
Because of us, and people really don't like it when I say that, because of us, and by us I mean the family, the company, the culture, the society, all of it, because we have taught men from a very young age that go take care of your sister. You're the man of the house. Don't cry. Shh. Stay silent. And with time, of course, this boy is going to grow up into a man, an adult man who has now anger issues, who can't trust people when they say, I care about you, because what do you mean? So we learn all these, or men learn all these defense mechanisms, coping strategies, but they're really unhealthy, which is why you find it very common for men to be emotionally trapped. They don't know how to express emotions. They don't know how to express their needs. They don't know because we never taught them. We just taught them that you have to be the man of the house by providing and protecting. What about providing him a safe space and protecting him from a future suicide or a heart attack?
Interesting.
It's interesting to say that because I think in relationships maybe we tend to blame the man. It's like, are you emotionally unavailable?
100%. We
Yeah.
made him like that,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that it's not his responsibility to heal himself and to just go back to where the wound was open or the pain is and dive through it.
Do you think someone is able to change that to become maybe
100%.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
Fine.
And we keep saying like, yeah, do the work. No, it's nasty work, but it's
Yeah.
worth it. At the end of the day, you choose what people talk about legacy. I don't believe in legacies in terms of materialistic legacies. I believe in legacies that at least I made someone feel safe enough. At least I made someone to feel like, you know what, I matter in this life, and helped him or showed him the way to do something about it. So yes, therapy is painful. Healing is such a painful, nasty journey. It's not all flowers and blooming. But what are you investing in is the longevity, your future. So thank you for acknowledging at least my journey. But yes, it was so painful. And many times I didn't think I would come out of it. But when I look where I am today, I would be, oh my God, it was so worth it. Every tear, every pain, every whatever it is. And people are so scared of pain.
Yeah.
But pain can be your friend. It's a heavy friend to have. So you will learn how to sit with it and just, you know what do you want to tell me? And the pain is going to be your mentor at some point. And I'm not saying that so it can be a quote, but it's actually true. And when you allow yourself to feel that pain without really caring about what people think or how they can perceive you, you're going to come out of it someone lighter. Not stronger, lighter.
Interesting. You say points about sitting with the pain and the pain
yeah.
can be your mentor. And then there's all these things on YouTube about neuroplasticity and like training your brain into
Yeah.
positive thoughts.
Yeah.
You say healing is a painful journey. What does that journey look like? And is there, of course there isn't, but is there a one size fits all in your point in terms of healing
Never.
mental health, or
Never.
how does
Never.
it work?
Never. Thank you for asking that. No, it's very individualistic journey. What healing looks like for you could be different for Masa and same for me. It doesn't have to be as extreme as my journey or someone else's journey. Some people could just merely be working on, you know what, I have a very critical inner voice and I want to learn, work on that. And that could be because their parents used to criticize them or they were not taught how to perceive things in a positive way. So no, there's no one size fits all. But do the basic stuff like sleep well, eat healthy, do your body movements. Do not be with people that you don't, I don't want to say you're not proud of, but you don't want your kids to turn out like them, for example. Or let's do the basics, and gradually when you're doing that on a daily basis, then your well-being is going to improve. That's on the daily thing. But if you're someone who has already carrying a lot of weight, go to a therapist you trust. Ask a friend for help. You're not ready yet. There are plenty of resources available, like YouTube, books, plenty of tools that you can work around, workbooks, journals, anything, just to get you started or to get you feel like, you know what, if that person went through this, then I'm not really the odd person here in the society or whatever he is. And then go to a therapist. And therapists will never go and say it out loud, this person came to me today.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be safe and confidential. It's going to take a lot of time. It really depends on what traumas or baggages you're working on. But you will see the progress by the way you respond differently, from going from an angry person to someone who's very calm and composed, for example, from someone who's feeling anxious, from the minute you wake up to someone who, I don't feel anxiety in my body anymore. These differences in the way you show up and the way you respond and the way you behave, these will be your signs that, oh, therapy is working. So,
do you feel like that maybe some mental health issues might manifest into habits or addiction? For example, shopping addiction, like
100%.
shopping addiction, maybe like intense workouts. A lot of people might get into that, like become very intense in the gym. How do you notice that sign? Is it just a normal addiction, or is it because it's something has to do with mental health?
Well, no addiction is healthy.
Yeah.
but this is very important. So this is what we call escapism. When people escape to platforms or outlets to release that stress or depression or anything that has been on their chest, and they just go, what's wrong? I'm just working out. But when you look at their workout schedule, what do you mean? It's like you're killing yourself in that workout. So which part of yourself do you hate so much that you're taking through all that suffering? It's a very deep topic, and I could go as deep as you want me to, but this is escaping. I don't want to feel my feelings. I don't want to feel my pain. There's something yucky going on inside my mind or my heart. Let's go and do something else. It could be partying. It could be emotional eating. It could be working out extensively. It could be anything to numb that voice that is telling you I'm in pain. No, you're not. We're fine. We're okay. Some people become workaholics, high achievers. Let me show the world how successful I am, so no one gets to ask me about my some grief, for example, or whatever that is. So yes, people get to cope differently. Most of the time, unfortunately, it's an unhealthy way to cope. It's an investment. It's a choice. You can share all the tools, all the education that people need to do something about their mental health, but unless they choose to change or to heal, nothing's going to happen.
Well, on a very basic level, if we see someone who, you mentioned earlier the signs that someone's going through, or if we see someone who's using escapism as a tool to avoid what they're really going through, how would you suggest a friend or you approach a friend or a loved one if they're going through something?
Depends on how open-minded your friend is. If they're open for feedback, you can be very blunt. Listen, I'm really worried about you. Or you can highlight or call out a pattern of behavior that they have been doing, from someone who's outgoing to someone who's isolated, and then offer help. Like, I know someone who has helped X or has helped me personally, whatever it is. If that friend is not really open for feedback, you can just gift them something that could open their eyes or minds to something. It could be a book, it could be a podcast episode. You know what, let's watch this, and then, raise the volume on things they have to hear.
Subtle hints.
Subtle hints. I'm someone who would really be empathetic in my approach. It really depends on the person, but always be there. If those two ways didn't work, it's not on you. The third way that I would recommend is just subtle support, which is, hey, I'm just going to keep checking in. You don't need to reply, but I'm here. Just for them to start, for their brain to start comprehending that, okay, I have someone that I can go to. It's just that I'm so scared at the moment. You can only do much, but it really also depends on the severity of the issue. Sometimes it's a severe depression, and that no, we need an intervention. If it's just a day-to-day thing and piled up issues that they haven't worked on, a book, a podcast, a conversation, we go back to a real conversation by just saying, you know what, I remember myself when I look at you because I went through something like this. Am I right? Am I accurate? Did I miss something? Just a real conversation. That's what I go back to, because we have been rehearsing our way in life. Let's drop the act.
So if you look online and you see a lot of people trying to give mental health tips, it might be a professional or a non-professional, but there's only this one common advice that people say, like, cut out everything that's negative in your life, whether it's people or whether it's habit. Is this really healthy to do? Because a lot of people might end up lonely or alone.
I'm loving your questions. I am with the concept of decluttering, for sure. But I wouldn't go as extreme as all the negative stuff, because also you don't want to go to avoidance. No, I can handle negative situations, or I can set a boundary with a negative person. If I have to work with that person, I can't cut them off.
Yeah.
So no, learn the tools, the skills, everything that will help you handle something negative. And then you decide, okay, what do I need in my life? What I don't need. So for example, from my personal experience, I don't listen to songs anymore that has negative lyrics, because I don't want my brain to keep listening to repeatedly lyrics that suggest a lonely feeling or a breakup. Why do I feel sad today?
So
well, look at the song you have been listening to. You know, that could be a simple way of doing it. Do like an inventory on your social media accounts. Who are you following? Who are you watching repeatedly? What kind of content are you consuming? Is it good for your brain? Is it not? I don't watch news anymore. These things, yes, I would really recommend. But if you work with someone who happens to be on the negative side of it, it's your choice how much you want to engage with that person. Yes, set some boundaries, but don't cut off anything that is on your negative radar, because then you'll be avoiding your triggers, you'll be avoiding things. No, you need to be able to cope, you need to be able to handle them as a professional, or not, but we're human beings, and I am trying or doing my best to shy away from saying the word negative feelings, because all feelings are good feelings. It's just what we do with it. But for example, if the person comes from a family, which is a question I get a lot, and that family member is toxic, like gaslighting you, bullying you, or whatever it is, it's something you need to discuss with your therapist on how to approach this. But cutting that member off shouldn't be something we shame those people for. You have the right to do that in the protection of your future and mental health. There are so many things that one can do, but at the end of the day, I am against the one-size-fits-all thing. Do this and do that and do... It really depends from one person to another. So whoever is listening, you are the master of your life. So you know exactly what needs your attention, what needs to change, and you're just resisting that change. You know where to go. You just don't want to go because it's too painful. And we tell ourselves the story of, I don't have the time. Really, I have other priorities right now. But what is the story you're telling yourself? I'm not a priority.
We've quickly run out of time, unfortunately, but before
it
you
happens
leave
to me
us,
a lot. I apologize.
It's an interesting conversation. So
I really love the conversation. Before you leave us, you've written a book, Raise Your Mental Health. Can you tell us about it?
So the book is called Raw, Rising Above Wounds, and it should be published very, very, very soon. And it started off as a memoir, but then I changed my mind, and I now just shared a sneak peek of the journey and the story, but it's all mental health tools for people to start working on and taking it as the first step towards healing. Amazing. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was supposed to get you some copies, but it's still in the printing process.
I was thinking, I was like, where's the book?
You'll receive your copies very soon.
So tell us, where will it be out? Where can people buy it when it comes out? And if people want to reach you directly, how can they do so?
You can reach me at Raise Your Mental Health on Instagram, Rahaf Kobeissi on LinkedIn, and the book will be on Amazon and hopefully in a few bookstores in Dubai. We're still finalizing that. Yes.
Thank you so much
for having me. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being a voice and being an advocate for men's mental health.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Massa.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show. We're back here with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.